All right, I'm Roger Mooking, and I will be championing Butter Honey Pig Bread right here by Francesca Ekwuyasi for Canada Reads. Now, I'm here with Francesca. I'm so honored, and I got some questions for you.
Okay.
All right, first of all, congratulations on being nominated for Canada Reads. What happened when you found out you were actually going to be part of Canada Reads?
I screamed. I screamed. And I was like, damn, like, okay, wow, people, okay.
Did you celebrate that night? Did you have a little mini celebration, like cook
I
up some
did.
food and some wine? Like, what'd you do?
I did. My friends came over. They brought flowers. We like just talked, and they were like, "Yes, good." You know, me and my friends are. We like share our dreams and ambitions, and like really support each other. So they
Yeah.
were like, "Good. I'm glad this is." It just felt nice to like have the people rooting for me celebrate with me.
Yeah, they deserve to root for you and celebrate for you. You're amazing. Okay, so you wrote this book called Butter Honey Pig Bread, right? And one of the things that drew me to it as a chef, as one of the things I do, is that there was some food relation to it. Then when I read some synopsis about it, I was really drawn into it. And as I read the first few words, I was like, okay, you just know this is going to be something incredible, right? So what was the inspiration behind the title, and why that?
Well, I it was named something else. Can I share the
Yeah, yeah,
previous name?
I want to know what's up.
Yeah, it used to be. I named it A Tender on Kindness when I started, and then when I heard back from the publisher that they were interested in it, by the time I heard back from them, I'd had a chance to read through, and so butter, honey, pig bread were the ingredients that stuck out the most to me because there was so much food in it. And I think I just really liked the way it sounded when I spoke it because it could easily have been like sweet potatoes, mushroom, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever. There's so many ingredients.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I really liked the way it sounded, and I had initially named it honey butter pig bread. But then I was like, no, honey butter is a thing, and people might associate that.
Right.
Yeah. So I did. I was like, no. But I really like the way it sounds. Yeah, it's all things I like to eat.
You know, it's amazing. Sometimes a thing just has to have a ring to it. Just has to resonate just by off the first ding like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that by the time I finished it, it definitely the book had outgrown the original title. You know,
I really
time passed.
I really love it because it helped me gravitate to it, and I think it brings a real humanity to it because everybody understands food. Everybody has a need for food, and so there's a real primal reach to that as well, right?
Hmm.
One thing that's really cool about your book, and with the theme this year at Canada Reads, is about transcending your environment and going somewhere else. And in your book, you travel to Nigeria, Halifax, Montreal, London, England, and my favorite place that you travel is time. You really do an incredible job of placing this book in a non-linear time structure, moving through all of these different physical places that we know on Earth. So can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I find that that's really compelling, not only the countries, but how you maneuver time itself through the book.
Oh yeah, I'm really glad that you. So yeah, I'm so grateful to have you as my champion because I feel like you get it. But yeah, for sure, like time, because one of the main characters, Kambirinachi, does not even believe herself to be human. Um, that she doesn't really exist in time in the same way that we as humans do. Something about going through the pandemic, especially last year, lots of people were like, is time even real? And I'm like, I've been saying that forever. Time isn't real.
I say
It's
that
not,
all the time too. I feel you,
not
man.
real.
It's not real. It's fabrication. Yeah.
So I really wanted to give that to the story where the timeline of things doesn't actually matter that much. It's just that they happened. Whether when they happened doesn't really matter because for the twins, this thing happened to separate them, and then for the rest of their adult, up until they return to each other, it's like that thing happened. In the same moment that they weren't speaking anymore. It didn't matter that it happened so long ago. Um, Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does, but like also like I want to hear a little bit how time plays with the physical spaces. Why did you choose London, England, Halifax, Montreal, Nigeria? I know you're a Nigerian Canadian author. You're born in
Mhm.
Nigeria, so I'm assuming that maybe you have a personal connection to Nigeria, but what about all those other locations?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to write about places I'd been, and the only place I hadn't been in the book is Tangier. I've been, I was trapped in the Moroccan airport for 15 hours one day. Trapped is dramatic. I had a very long layover,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
haven't been to Tangier. But I really wanted to write about places I'd been because they like, when you eat something and you remember a place, you
Mhm.
can hear something and smell something and remember a place. And I wanted to play with how like time disappears sometimes with or we can time travel actually, even if
Mhm.
it's just in our imaginations or in our memories with like scent and food triggers, and they bring you to a specific place. So Lagos is a very specific flavor. It's like spicy palm oil, like it's a meal. It's like you're full, you need to rest after you eat and you can't just, and
Mm.
I feel a little bit like Halifax is a snack. And so I wanted in the best possible way, in the best
Yeah, yeah, no,
possible
I feel
way.
you. I've been to Halifax. I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I wanted to illustrate that, and time was a helpful way, because even when the character Taiye moved to Halifax from London, like it's not really clear how much time passed between the event that happened that caused her to leave London to it's not very clear, and then
Mhm.
her first few months and first year in Halifax, it's not really clear because it doesn't actually matter. It's like her
Mhm.
emotional landscape that um, just the weight of her sadness and loneliness outweighs the actual quantity of time.
Mm.
um, yeah, so those places I have relationships to, right? Like I love Montreal, and every chance I get I go, even though I don't live there. And I love London, I have family there. um, but yeah, time, yeah.
I can feel the connection to those places. Like they feel really earnest and legitimate. So that's why I asked. I was like, is she really just that brilliant that she can envision all these places and dive into them? Or like actually she's also equally as brilliant to be able to manifest that on paper after having lived it. Because a lot of people can live a place, but they not necessarily can manifest that on blank page, you know what I mean, with words. So you've done like a really miraculous job in transcending us into those places, but also into time. And you have a very poignant, and pointed method in the book of not translating Nigerian words and phrases for the convenience of the North American reader, right? Um, and I think that it's really important. I think that it's really because in no way does it inhibit you from understanding the context of what's happening in that section. You can sort of, it implies what the meaning is quite clearly by leaving the word present, but you also could have very easily translated those words and used them as English words, but you didn't, right? And you still managed to do that in a way that doesn't alienate the North American consumer or make it feel intimidating, and the book feels still very human. It doesn't alienate an audience because it's so relatable to everyone. What was the thought process behind that decision making? Because I know it was very, very deliberate.
Yeah, it was totally deliberate. And you said, like, yeah, you exactly said it. I didn't want to alienate, and I also didn't want to pander, because I love to read, and I've read a lot of, um, just a lot of fiction where things are over explained. And I feel like you don't have to, like, as a reader, I'm like, I wish I could tell the authors when I've read their work where it feels over explained, especially non-English, non-North American, or like European, um, like words or like, yeah, anyways, expressions. I wish I could be like, I promise you, like, your work is worth the effort of me figuring this out without you spoon feeding me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I didn't want to pander and didn't want to alienate, and my editor really helped with that, because the final product, I think, reads, I'm glad that it reads that way. But the first few drafts probably didn't. The first few drafts were probably a bit more closed to non-Nigerian, and even within Nigeria, like non-Igbo speaking or Yoruba speaking. So that was definitely the work of this work and support of my editor. And I've also read authors where they don't do that. Like they have whole paragraphs in Spanish, like Junot Diaz does that. And I appreciated because it's a risk, right? Like
it's a risk, and you're a first time published author for a novel. So to come out like that, I got to tell you, it takes a lot of gumption, and I really do commend you for that. Okay, so Francesca, something that's very clear in this book is the importance of family, and particularly the bonds between mother and child and sister. So, and there's this collective of womanhood and sisterhood that kind of ties together. Where is that coming from?
Well, I was raised by women, my grandmother, my aunties. I went to an all-girls school, so I'm just very familiar with like femme friendships and relationships, and I don't know what it's like to not be femme or to be a man or like a non-binary person. So what I know is that it can be intense, like sisterhood and female friendships can be so intense, and even female relationships in general. I wanted to explore that, sisterhood in particular. Like I don't have any like bio sisters of my own. I have, brothers, but my cousins are like my sisters. So it's never been so much about like biology or blood. It's just like, well, you're my sister now, I just wanted to explore it. I think, it's really fertile ground for intense emotions. Well, just because societally, I think women have more freedom to be expressive, and it's not a good thing. I think everyone should be allowed to express everything, but just femme people have been allowed more freedom to be expressive and emotional, and be in relationships that even when they're not romantic or sexual, they can be intense and, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing about Black womanhood?
Of course.
I wanted a lot of the stories I've read about Black women, not all, there's so many Nigerian authors, so many Black authors who are writing really complicated characters, but I felt the overwhelming in my mind is like good, the women characters are good and righteous and pious and kind of, always they're always on the right side of things. And I wanted to complicate that because that's not true. Like I'm not always on the right side of things, a lot of women and people I know aren't always on the right side of things. We're complicated, and especially Black womanhood, I feel, can be so pigeonholed. So I wanted to write characters who are like selfish and also like hedonistic, and angry, but also loving and tender, bad mothers and good mothers and mean aunties, but loving aunties. I wanted to give us a complicated and messy array of how like Black women exist, because that's how they exist in my life.
And also up until recently, historically, the black woman has been this monolithic concept, right? And so it's starting to see that shifting a little bit, with the type of television shows that are getting executed, the type of books that are being published, the type of media and content, and the faces that are representing those things. So I love to see that, and your book is an incredible addition to that pantheon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This book is one of the most powerful, incredible books you will ever read in your entire life. It has affected me deeply, and I take it very personally that I will be championing Butter Honey Pig Bread by this incredible woman, Francesca Ekwuyasi. So y'all tune in to Canada Reads on CBC, March 8th to March 11th, because I'm going to be fighting with my heart and soul for it.
Thank you so much, Roger. I'm not even worried.